Jet Grind Retrologic. Welcome to episode 71. I'm Dan Caparello here with John Cummins, Sam Wagers, and the hero worth at least $2 himself, Seth from the All In a Nintendo podcast. Oh, that's a mouthful. 4 of us tonight because John is back from Babyland.
Yay!
So good.
I made it.
So good to see you and your wall of amiibo. I don't know what, my life was just incomplete before this moment. So, wow, yeah, guys. Okay, Retrologic isn't just a podcast, it's also a blog. You can visit retrologic.games, click blog at the top to check out fresh content every month, including this month, where Sam has just finished doing a blog post all about... games that... localized games, or games that should be localized. Tell me what it is.
Games that were never localized for North America that I think are ripe with potential to be right now. So very timely, seeing as we just got an announcement that Live Alive is coming to the Switch in an HD remake on the Octopath engine.
That's right.
Which is one of those, which I could have put in that list, but didn't.
By the way, that NA in NA title is super clever for that blog post. I saw that. I was like, that's wonderful. Well done.
I was worried it was too clever, but it was good.
So just a bit of housekeeping before we jump into our icebreaker. Our Odama-rama podcast is live, featuring Sam, featuring Liam, and featuring our very own Flightsy from our Discord. They talk for about an hour about Odama. And then we end with the closing credits song, which is on its own worth listening to the entire thing for. So I highly recommend going and checking that out on our feeds. We are also right in the middle of Breath of Fire-bruary. So if you haven't started Breath of Fire, do it. Do it now. 1 and 2 are both on NSO, so you really have no excuse. And then I'll be revealing our March game soon. Got to come up with a nice pun for it, and then I'll let you know what that's going to be. So, Icebreaker, Seth, welcome back. It is, every time you come on the show, I'm just like, why aren't you just on this show every episode? Because the chemistry.
You're just a host. Yeah, just one of those hosts, man. Just make me a 4th host, yeah. It's always a pleasure, guys. I love hanging out with you guys. It's like, you know what it is? I was thinking about this. It's like in Batman the Animated Series, Ra's al Ghul, like every few months he has to go back in the Lazarus Pit. That's what it is for me. Coming on Retrologic is going back in the Lazarus Pit.
Okay, awesome.
It's like a healing salve for me. It's awesome to hang out with you guys.
That's great.
It's without the potential insanity that results.
No, the insanity's there. No, the insanity's there.
I was about to say, it's kind of a double-edged sword there, but that's fine. It's all good.
No, it's accurate.
Totally accurate. So Seth, tell us what you bought, what you played this week.
Haven't really bought a whole heck of a lot, except for the fact that, in a frenzied panic when it was announced last week that the Wii U and 3DS eShops were closing, I've already been in kind of a weird nostalgic place, but that made me be like, I need to buy a bunch of stuff on my 3DS. A bunch of games that I haven't bought, a bunch of games that I've been meaning to play for a long time, like weird stuff like Aeroporter, and wanting to replay Crimson Shroud and and those guild games, and re-downloading stuff to make sure that I have it on my 3DS before the eShops go down. So I've bought a ton of stuff, just junk like Dylan's Rolling Western, a bunch of virtual console games. I've just been loading up. I literally loaded $100 onto my eShop account on 3DS and just burned through it like nobody's business.
Yeah. Easy to
insane. Easy to do.
Big time.
That console has got such an amazing wealth of digital games, exclusively digital games as well as virtual console. We're losing a lot with those eShops. We really are.
Game Boy's going to be a big loss. I'm going to miss that.
I mean, some of these games like Pocket Card Jockey, Harmonite, all of the guild games, Attack of the Friday Monsters. Like, there's some wonderful, wonderful games that were never released physically that we're just gonna lose this time next year, And I was like, I kind of forewarned people on Twitter. I was like, the next several episodes of Keep Nintendo Weird is going to be devoted to this stuff, just so you guys know, because I want to talk about it while people can still buy it. So I've sort of made it my mission to play and talk about all of these games while they're still available. So
after May, the only way to add funds will be through buying the cards physically, right?
It's weird. So May, I think 23rd is when is the last day to add funds with your credit card. And then you can go, you can use eShop cards through August 29th, but there is a bit of a loophole. PSA to the Retrologic listeners. You can load, like, if your account is the same account as you have on Switch, you can just load your account on Switch.
Yep,
and
same thing.
Like, that'll transfer over.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a little annoying, but you can do it. So there is that, but the eShop itself will be completely shut down, and you will be able to do nothing more than re-download what you've already bought after next March.
Right.
So we've got a little over a year for 3DS and Wii U eShop, and it's just kind of like, man, like it just, there's a ticking clock on it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the clock is ticking down.
Yep, time bomb for sure.
Shop, is it still available to re-download things?
I think
is it completely gone.
I want to say the only thing you can download is the Twilight Princess patch.
That's what I was going to say. I wonder, now that we have a date for its, initial closing down, how much longer is it going to be before we get that next date? Like, hey, make sure you've downloaded everything you want, because it's not going to be around anymore.
It'll be a while yet, I think.
I feel like the Wii, it happened fast.
I read an actually really interesting Twitter post, somebody who's like in the server-based IT world, and he was talking about how the thing that they want to prevent is like the constant upkeep of security information. So that's really why they shut it down. And one of the most vulnerable pieces to that is the on server credit card information. So once they kill that, really it's just upkeeping the servers. So they want to kill that quickly so that they don't have to upkeep those security protocol, which is very expensive, and pay the credit card companies their cut or whatever for having their services. Then it's a lot cheaper to maintain. So, I'm not going to predict the future, but I think the service to download your stuff you own should be live for quite some time. But that was actually an interesting read. I wonder if I can re-find it and share it, because it was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's, and there's a whole separate, we could be here all night talking about the ins and outs of digital storefronts and stuff like that, and why it's happening and blah, blah, blah. But it is kind of like, there's a ticking clock on it now. And I was just sort of like, I need to load this thing up. Like, I need to get my 3DS loaded up with all these games that I want to make sure I have and keep and play. And I want to talk about them, and I want to, kind of celebrate these games while people can still go out and buy them. So
yeah, big time.
I've sort of made that my mission. So it's kind of the only things that I've bought. So I don't have a Wii U anymore. I'm trying to get a hold of one. I've been talking to somebody in the community about getting one. Hopefully I can get a Wii U pretty soon so I can do the exact same thing and just spend a ton of money.
Right. That virtual console is pretty gnarly too. Game Boy Advance and DS games on there. It's pretty, and the pricing isn't too bad, but that's a pretty big haul on that system.
The thing I had been wondering, as people talk about what could Nintendo really do, obviously there is a cost associated with keeping the store open, but really, and I don't know at what point this lands finance wise, but just have a big sale before it goes down.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Have because it is kind of a going out of business sale. And I do think there are a lot of people who would, they would ultimately wind up spending more if you cut prices a lot. Just because they'd be like, all right, it's going down. This is the best deal I'll ever get. Let's load all this up so I have it.
Well, yeah, check it out. Now that I have paid the full price for a lot of these games, it will happen. So you're right. That's exactly it.
Well, thank you for doing that, taking the hit.
So there you go. We took.
I plan on doing the same thing and I was talking on the Nintendo Dad's Discord about it, and I really just wish there was a better way to download games, like more than one at a time, like more than one purchase.
Right.
Because even though you have $100 in there, like you have to buy each thing individually. It's individual clicks. It's like I really want a shopping cart and like just throw everything that I want in there and click and be done.
Yeah.
I mean, the Switch doesn't even have that, but
yeah,
that'd be nice. But so anyway, that's what I bought. That's the bulk of what I've bought. I've been playing I've been doing the Justin Masson game sampler thing, playing like a little bit of a lot of things here lately. I've been still kind of chipping away at Pokemon Legends Arceus. I hit the credits of that, did the little end game story that there is, and now I'm just kind of in complete the Pokedex mode. And that game's really good for like little 30-minute sessions, which is typically the amount of free time that I have these days. Is I can just pop in there and play for like less than an hour and then leave. So that's pretty good. I really like that game a lot. We have to have a whole conversation. Once Dan gets a chance to play some more of it, we've got to have a whole like Pokemon Legends Arceus chat. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we'll get maybe we'll do like the hosts of a bunch of the like you, Nintendo Pals, me, just to have like a massive because I'm sure there's going to be some arguments.
Yeah, we
started by me, but fun. We could we'll figure it out. That'd be cool.
That'll be super fun. Been playing a lot of the topic at hand, Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio Future, for a video I've been working on, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. I've been playing a bunch of those for both because they're just great games and I just love playing them, but I've also been having to obviously capture a lot of footage, and so I've been playing just a ton of those over the past several weeks. Picked up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 HD on Switch. So I had this weird moment. My wife and I went and saw the new Jackass movie, Jackass Forever.
Was it good? I want to see it.
Oh, it's so good. It's hilarious.
Can't
wait. It's like, it just put me in this nostalgic place because like years and years ago when I was skinny, I rode a skateboard, and I rode a skateboard for many years, and it just kind of put me in that place. And I came home from watching that movie and I was like, I want to buy Tony Hawk. I want to play Tony Hawk. And it happened to be on sale. So I just grabbed it, and I've been having a blast with that in this kind of weird nostalgia skateboarding place that I've been in. Speaking of nostalgia, Infernax, which is a game that I highly recommend to people who are fans of Zelda 2. That game just recently hit the Switch eShop, and we interviewed the devs on my show recently.
Sweet.
And it was great. They're great guys, hilarious guys. And publisher was nice enough to give us a code to check that out for review. And we've just been playing a bunch of that. If you like Zelda 2, you need to buy Infernax.
We'll have to talk to Chris Vogel about it.
I'm sure he knows.
I specifically called out to Chris when I was on Nintendo Dad's talking about the game. I was like, Chris, you need to buy this. Because it's like the combat of Zelda 2. The thing that I keep coming back to in my head while playing it is, like, if Zelda 2 was more popular and successful at the time it released, we would have gotten more games like Infernax. Because it's kind of like the modern realization of the Zelda 2 idea. And all of the things that are kind of like good about those games that were weird back then, but a lot of people are looking back fondly, now about, is in this game. And it's packaged in this like kind of heavy metal, super irreverent package, and it's great. It's like super gory, and I love it. I love it. Been having a blast with that. And then the last game I'll shout out is Grapple Dog. Grapple Dog is a little indie game that just recently came out where you play as a cute dog with a grapple hook.
Is Grapple Dog as good as it looks? Because it looks really good.
It's awesome.
Is it?
It's awesome, dude. Okay. It's awesome. It's so, like, it's like a GBA style platformer, kind of, bite-sized levels, but the whole gameplay gimmick is you have this grapple hook, and that's tied into, like, every facet of the gameplay and the level design. You can go back through, there's collectibles on the levels, you can go back through for time trials, which is super fun. The soundtrack is way funkier than I was prepared for.
Yes.
Like, it totally, speaking of Jet Set Radio, it totally has like Hideki Naganuma vibes to the soundtrack. Like, it definitely has that Jet Set Radio flavor in the soundtrack, and it's just like cute and colorful. And at the end of every level, you can pet the dog. It's great. It's great, man.
If you can't pet the dog, then why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to pet the Grapple Dog. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
I want it, but I'm afraid that if I buy anything else right now, I'm never going to go back to Pokemon. And
That's fair.
I've made promises that that game has to have a significant amount of playtime in it.
That's fair. The thing that's nice about Grapple Dog is it literally feels like when I make the GBA platformer comparison, like that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like the kind of game that wants you to take it with you on the go, play through a level in 5-10 minutes, and you can like pretty easily put it down. It's the perfect game to play like in the waiting room, like it's the perfect pick up and play kind of thing. I think you would love it. I really do. I think you'd love it.
I want it.
It's awesome.
I want to do it. I'm looking at it right now.
For me, guys.
What else? What else we got?
That's pretty much it in terms of what I've been playing and stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. Also, welcome again to Retrologic. Always a pleasure.
So happy to be here.
Samo.
Yeah, still not buying a whole lot, but I did get my pre-order in for Triangle Strategy.
Amazing.
So looking forward to that. Looking forward to just spring in general because I'll be buying a lot of new games then. Don't know if I'll have the budget to buy a lot of retro games at the same time, but I can probably find some stuff here and there. But I had an opportunity to play some actual arcade games this weekend. Went with some friends to a place in Easton, north of Columbus, called Pins Mechanical. They've got it a couple different cities. I don't know if you've heard of it. So their thing is duck pin bowling, which is like mini bowling. It's like little pins. But they have arcade games all around, and they're on free play. So,
Nice.
got to play some
That's awesome.
Turtles. I mean, they didn't have like any like deep cut stuff, but Turtles, the original Turtles arcade by Konami, Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Cruisin' World, I think it was.
Nice.
Trying to think what else. A couple other games that I played. Just, been a long time since I played like an actual arcade game, so that was fun. And I've been really getting into Gloomhaven on Steam, the digital version of the board game. That's been a lot of fun. So I've been playing the campaign mode, and I've retired like 3 mercenaries now. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. And I also got to try the Switch Sports playtest, which was also this weekend.
Tell me everything.
Are you allowed to talk about it? Can we talk about it?
I mean, I think we can talk about it.
Just spill the beans. Just tell me about
it or
it.
whatever. I mean, it's Switch Sports. I mean, it's Wii Sports on the Switch, basically. I mean, the sports available were the stuff that's returning. So I thought that was kind of odd if they wanted to showcase what's new and different.
Right.
But tennis feels really good. Bowling does feel a lot better than the Clubhouse Games bowling, I would say.
Yeah, it does.
If you want a bowling game on your Switch, this is it, and not Clubhouse Games. I had a lot of fun with tennis. Chambara is pretty much what you expect it to be, like the sword fighting in Wii Sports Resort. Just that sometimes there's some issues with the motion, but a lot of it's just kind of learning how to use the motion controls correctly. Realizing that like if you try to like go from like one position to another, you might accidentally swing. Or like if you're holding it vertically, like you're readying a vertical swing and you try to like fake out and go for a horizontal, it just doesn't work a lot of the time because you moved it too fast to switch positions. But I mean, it generally works and it's generally fun. I think it'll do great. I think it probably should be a bundle in game, but we'll see. Maybe people will buy a Switch for this and they'll just buy Mario Kart 2, and Mario Kart will continue to sell more.
Maybe Black Friday deal game or something bundle.
Yeah, I think they'll.
Yeah, I
make
mean,
it a bundle game.
it is supposed to come at like a $40 price point, which is
Mhm.
interesting, and I think that's a really smart move. And I really think we just need more of those. Nintendo started dabbling with that in the Wii U era, stuff like Kirby's Canvas Curse and Captain Toad. I really think I have a lot of interest in those types of games that probably don't need to be $60 games to be any better, because that's why we wind up with stuff like weird story modes in Mario Golf, where it's like, just let it just be a golf game, and that's enough. But then people will be like, oh, it's a $60 game, I want to get all this other stuff. So I don't know. I think that's great. I think we need more like double A, not indie, not triple A games.
Right.
Well,
I totally agree, and I think too, when you have a lower budget and you have like you have less to lose, you're able to be more experimental. You can play it a little less safe. Not that Nintendo Switch Sports is something.
Yeah, and I mean, you see that with indie games generally too. It's just you don't always see that coming from something that's developed by Nintendo themselves.
Right.
It seems like Nintendo plans on supporting this with DLC quite a bit too. So.
Yeah, we know golf is coming. We know there's the update coming to the soccer mode, so that you can actually play it with the leg strap. I'd be curious what else would come, because the selection does seem odd to me on the face of it, just because we have tennis, badminton, and volleyball making up half of the 6 core sports, and I'm like, all of those are just hit the thing over the net.
And it's not like that's not like that's a complicated difference between them in Wii Sports. Like, those games played on their own, but you're not really moving your character around. There's not a lot extra going on that makes those games special within the context of playing. Yeah,
and when you add in the motion controls, it helps them to feel a little bit different from each other more so. But I don't know. And you could argue the same thing about a lot of sports. Like, most sports are putting a ball in a net.
Everything's golf.
But everything is golf. But I don't know.
Boxing. They have to add boxing.
Boxing would be interesting. I don't know that was many people's favorite, but yeah, I'm curious about soccer. I don't know if I'll be playing it with the leg strap though.
That seems weird.
God no.
It just was funny. They're like, here's soccer, but we're also giving you strikers. So
Strikers
isn't even a soccer game.
Strikers is as much a soccer game as Smash Brothers is boxing. It's like not even the same like.
I mean, they were careful to describe it as it's a sport kind of like soccer.
It's exactly how you describe it.
The way Strikers plays is more like a hockey game plays.
That's very true.
Right.
Like, but if I had to choose between the two, I'm going to pick Strikers over Switch Sports Soccer.
Really, over any sports game. Let's be honest.
Also fair.
Yeah, I'll take it.
No bias is here. Awesome. What else, Sam?
The only other thing is I've still got my TurboGrafx Mini, and I want to enjoy that as much as I can. So I started playing Neutopia, which is a pretty shameless Zelda clone for the TurboGrafx, but it's competently done, so it's quite a lot of fun all the same.
Sweet. Awesome. Thank you, Sam. John. A rather short list considering the time away, but it seems that you've been busy. But go ahead and give us what you bought, what you played.
Yeah, and actually, I think I forgot to mention on here, since Sam did, I also pre-ordered Triangle Strategy. I pre-ordered a copy from overseas so I could get the collector's one.
Oh.
Found a good deal somewhere. A way better deal than I thought I got at first when I realized how much Nintendo was selling theirs for in the UK. But yeah, pretty excited for that one to get here finally. I did get some Neo Geo Pocket Color games in. I got Metal Slug and Pocket Card Fighters, the Capcom version. Awesome. Those came in shortly after I talked about it, but I haven't been back on to talk about them since I got them, and they're both really good games. I also got Castlevania 3 for the NES. It's the last NES Castlevania that I needed. I bought this the actual game translated from Japanese is from whom the
For the frog, the bell tolls.
yeah, it's a weird translation. The one that I chose on here, For the Frog, the Bell Tolls, is actually a English ROM hack for the game.
Oh.
Which I did get a hold of to be able to play it in English, but I do own the Japanese version as well. So that I can say that I have a legitimate copy of the game. And then from Dan, I got Breath of Fire 3 for the PSP, Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis, and Mega Bomberman for the Sega Genesis.
I'm surprised you didn't have Mega Bomberman already.
No, and I've never played it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a Genesis as a kid. I've played all the Super Bombermans on Super Nintendo.
It's a solid...
Never played Mega.
It's a solid port.
All the Super Bombermans? Because there's like 3 of them that didn't release in the United States.
Oh yeah, I've played I have 2 of the Famicom carts, the Super Famicom carts, nice. And then I've played ROMs of the other ones. But the one where you actually get the kangaroo guys, that one's fun.
That's great. I love that. I'm down for some Bomberman.
Bomberman's classic. Great.
Never not fun.
I also picked up Solomon's Club for the Game Boy. Just randomly, I thought it was actually a different game than what it was. I didn't realize it was a port of Solomon's Key for the NES.
It's a golf game, right?
Yeah, no. Like it's just a straight port to the Game Boy of that game. I played through the first 10 levels.
Which is so weird because you think of how many Game Boy games had the exact same title as like NES games, but
yeah,
they were totally different.
Yeah,
like Donkey Kong for the Game Boy.
Yep, it threw me off. I thought I was getting a totally different game. I was like, man, this is like got to be a in between Solomon's Key and Fire and Ice, but nope, same game. And then last on purchases, I bought Horizon Forbidden West. Haven't got to play it yet. I'm in danger of starting way too many games over this last couple weeks that I definitely don't need to start another one. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima still on PS4 that I have on at my computer desk here. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through that now. I'm also playing Pokemon Legends. I'm not even sure how far I am to that, but I'm over 10 hours in probably. Been playing Breath of Fire on the NES app or the Super Nintendo app on Switch.
You just switch over to 3. We only have, I think one other person's playing 3.
Oh, yeah. If I had 4, I would have played that one. I think that was the only one we didn't have.
No, somebody's playing 4 because
Or is? Oh wait, I
forget who it is.
Was it Zach? Did he have 4?
Oh yeah, it is Zach. Zach's playing 4, I believe. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
We had to get all 4 of them in there.
Yeah. Well, and Dragon Quarter. Sam played that.
Yeah, we know. We can't forget Dragon Quarter, right, Sam?
I'll bring it up.
It's weird because in Japan it is titled Breath of Fire 5 Dragon Quarter, but then for the international release they dropped the 5. Like, makes you think it's a spin-off.
Well, North American people hate math, so you throw a number at them, it's just.
Yeah, and we make Kirby angry too.
Yeah, big time.
Well, then the mobile game was 6, and they kept the 6 on it, so we would just have to assume in the U.S. that Dragon Quarter is still 5.
I'd love to find someone who played that and talk to them. Not likely, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe there's got to be somebody out there that played it.
I think it was Japanese only. Wasn't it Japanese only?
And it was shut down after like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make it very long.
Yeah, that's not long for a game as service.
No.
I'll just tweet it out. Somebody on Twitter played it.
Yeah, put the call out.
Put the call out
there. We want to talk to you.
I don't even want to talk to them. I just want their impression. Can you send it in a tweet? That's all I want. I don't want a lot. Just a tweet. How was it? That's it.
And then I'm also playing For the Frog, the Bell Tolls English ROM on my modded Game Boy as well. So I've got way too many games going at once. Oh, and I've been playing Hambo Johnny and all them guys have got me playing Retro Bowl as well. And I've put way too many seasons into that game already as well.
Man, dude.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. I need to finish something, actually.
I mean, I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't finish it.
Gotta finish something.
Video games, man. Just have fun.
Yeah, I barely finish anything. Like, that's just, I finish 2 games a year.
I won't be mad, but I'll just give you that disappointed look.
Yeah,
resting. I feel like Sam has resting, disappointed look face sometimes. Or just like, am I doing something wrong, or is Sam just okay?
Oh no, I gotta finish
You'll never
something.
know.
That's how I roll with finishing.
Yeah.
At some point.
I have come to terms with the fact that I just won't. So it's okay. Life goes on.
The ever game sampler.
Speaking of, I mean, I'll put a significant amount of time in a game, but if I hit a significant speed bump, like, there's way too much to play for me to deal with that crap. But so speaking of what I did this week, I didn't buy anything, but I played some stuff and worked on some stuff. I had a copy of Majora's Mask that the authentic case, like the casing for it, was pretty much in shambles, like it was destroyed. So I got a replacement gold cartridge on Etsy, and the holographic sticker for it came off very cleanly. So then I had the dilemma, because it came with like a foil sticker replacement for the game, which looks really nice, like a holographic one. And I was like, okay, do I put the authentic sticker back on it, or do I put the cool looking metal sticker? And then I was kind of sitting on it for a couple days, and then I decided to go with the foil sticker, because it just looks really cool. It looks very unique now, like it's my own personal copy of Majora's Mask with like a foil sticker. I don't even know if you can see what it's doing in the camera, but it is holographic, and that makes me really happy. And I can keep the
Lenticular.
the lenticular sticker, and just kind of have it or sell it or do whatever I want with it. And I have, that's fine. I'm okay with it. And then when if I ever sell this copy, I can just show them the authentic board and be like, here, and sell it for less. I don't really care. And there's not going to be any confusion with anyone that this is an authentic cartridge, even though the board is authentic. So I know that I have to show that, and that's going to help me in the future. So those are my reasons. If anybody needs a lenticular sticker for Majora's Mask, let me know and I'll sell it to you.
I think they all have it, don't they?
No, the Player's Choice did not, I think.
I don't think I've ever seen a copy of Majora's Mask that wasn't the lenticular.
I definitely have. And I'm
feel
not
like I
sure what
have,
the difference is. It's either Player's Choice or like this was just the first run or something like that.
Or did it still have a gold cart?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what's...
It always had a gold cart.
I just always see the gold cart.
Yeah.
Because I know the Ocarina of Time, you have both. You have gray and gold.
Right.
Yeah. And the gold ones are pretty expensive now. I have a gray. I played... Guys, I have been kind of... I feel like Mario Maker has been seeing a renaissance in my household.
Oh, cool.
My 6-year-old, I had to pull him off of Minecraft for reasons, which we'll not talk about here. Just, parenting stuff. So I was like, you know what, here, play Mario Maker. And the thing that really, he's kind of funny. Like, he doesn't really get how to play like a normal video game. Like, a side scroller will kind of defeat him very quickly, and he'll get frustrated and walk away. But making levels in Mario Maker and like experimenting like that and trying things and seeing what Mario does with different stuff, and like playing and replaying and then giving me the level and watching me screw up every step of the way.
Yep.
That's like the best for us. He'll do that all day. And then he'll there's so much in that game. Like, you can change which game you're playing and then see how things interact in that game. And like, oh, what happens if you're underwater? What happens if it's at night? What happens if now you have a car level and you just don't press any buttons? Like, how can you make that work? Like, he's a little engineer. Like Legos are his thing all day long. So this is like digital Legos, interactive Legos for him, which, I find to be a lot more endearing than Minecraft ever was. So I'm glad that he found something to replace that. And that's been a lot of fun. And then I'll like teach him, I'll like show him some things that are surprising, like surprising interactions. Like the other day, I showed him that you can add wings to anything almost, like he would give like enemies wings, but then I was like, watch this, you're going to give this mushroom a wing. And now you have to like try to catch it, or, give a fish a wing, and now it like flies further when it jumps out of the ground. Like, so the like multiple like branching paths of interactions in that game is mind boggling. And so that's been just our go-to father-son experience for gaming. I am at a place right now with Pokemon Legends. Let me just say first that Pokemon Legends is a revelation. I've been waiting for this kind of change in Pokemon for a very long time, and it feels fresh and great. And I love how the Pokemon interact way more with their environment and just look better and are animated and interact with each other, interact with you, interact with what you throw. It's not quite like Pokemon Snap levels of watching Pokemon interact in their natural habitat, but it's getting closer. Right. So that I love. I love the big open spaces. Obviously, that's just like, what Pokemon feels like what it was always supposed to be. Battling stayed the same, which I love. I love the game at its core. And I think I'm going to really love whatever they do next, because to me, Arceus feels like a very, very, very fleshed out kind of tech demo is not even proof of concept, I guess, to me.
Sure, yeah.
There's a lot that to me still leaves a lot to be desired. I could not find any of the side quests worth doing or endearing, or and a lot of the constant dialogue kind of got to me, and it just sort of became, it sort of devolved into what a lot of open world games fall short for me, which is like just like points on a map that you go to. And the interactions between those points started to become less and less unique. So that to me that's just where I'm at with the game. I'm going to keep playing it. But I think I feel like that's like a fair way to say it, is that like, man, it literally is a revelation. Like, this is a totally new way to play Pokemon. And I sincerely hope that this is like where they go with the next mainline game. But I would really love like paths and towns and cities and like, multiple like much deeper side quests like they had in Pokemon Red and Blue, and lore and stuff like that. I guess the lore is there, but I guess I want it to be a little bit more in that way, more like a normal Pokemon game and not like an open world spin-off-y type thing. That's just me. Anyway,
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
So this could lend itself to a much deeper conversation, which I hope that we get to have. But that's just kind of where I'm at now.
Put a pin in that, man.
I'm at the second boss, so I'm not even like that far in. But some people, and I think it was John on Dad's After Dark, said he beat the game in 20 hours. He kind of breezed through it, so I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to at least get to the end before I have like come to like my final conclusion about the game, just to give it its fair shake. But we are now 40 minutes into this episode, and we have not touched Price's Retrolet. This is what happens when we have 4 people on, but it's all good. It's all good conversation. So
what happens when you have me on.
That's right. But we love it. That's what we want. So let's jump into Price's Retro, and we'll play some games. If this is your first time playing The Price is Retro, this is how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games, and you're going to guess how much the games are worth in total, dollars and cents. Everybody's going to guess, everybody on the show, and whoever guesses closest to the actual price of the lot, you can go over. This is not Price is Right. Whoever guesses closest wins that lot. Everybody has their own lot of games, and we're all going to guess. And there's also the ghost, Poltergeist. He always guesses 300 on every lot. The person at the end of our round with the most wins the episode. And if the ghost wins the episode, then I have to give away a free sticker. That's what we've decided. So, with all that out of the way, John, since it's your first week back in a little while, why don't you go first? Set us off here.
All right. So, I have a very simple and laughable theme to my list. Here's the first game. Chuck Rock for the Game Boy, complete in box.
What?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
Second game, Paperboy for the Game Gear, complete in box.
I don't know why I had to think about that so hard. What is Chuck Rock? What is this? What? Where am I? Paperboy now?
Yep, Paperboy for the Game Gear, complete in box.
Game Gear.
And my third and last game is Busy Scissors, complete in box for the DS.
The heck is that?
Damn it, John. You can't do this to us.
I've never heard of that.
I don't know what Busy Scissors is.
I wouldn't
Are these
expect
just
any
games
of you
about
guys-
throwing things?
This
That's
game,
rock, paper, scissors.
this game is
is.
either
rock, paper,
Yeah.
scissors. There
This,
you go.
listen,
Yeah.
this game is either $5 or $5,000. I'm going to call it right now.
None of you guys would know what Busy Scissors is. I wouldn't expect it.
How
I
do
didn't
you
it
know what
was.
Busy Scissors is?
Because of price charting.
You just type scissors into price. chart.
Exactly.
No, not the Dan method.
I had a game for the other two, but the scissors. I went into this whole thing. I tried to find a Spock game, and there isn't one. So I guess I could have just went with a Star Trek, but I decided to just cut it at the classic. Just rock, paper, scissors.
That's great. It's fine.
All right. I got 200 for you. 200 flat.
All right.
Shot in the dark.
170.
160.
Right. All right. So the total of my list is 293.65.
Was that technically the ghost?
Yeah, that's big time Ghost.
Yep.
Yeah, he was only off by $6.35.
Man, I'm surprised at how often that dude wins. He guesses
What
the
was
same number.
expensive one?
Guesses the same number every time. Jeez. Okay, so what's the deal with Scissorland or whatever?
Okay, so we'll go through them real quick. Chuck Rock for the Game Boy, complete in box, is $186.53. Paperboy for the Game Gear, complete in box, is $101.12.
Wow.
And that makes Busy Scissors for the DS $6, and it's like a haircut simulator thing that's for little kids.
Like a style salon kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
You know, I've got to say, I'm glad it wasn't $5,000.
Well, no, you're
very
right.
kind.
You said it was either $5 or
Yep.
it was $6.
All right. Okay, Sam, let's do your list.
All right. I've got a President's Day theme because today's President's Day for those of us in the United States of America, anyway. So I've got Bad Dudes for the NES.
Happy birthday,
Loose.
Biden.
Conduit 2 for the Wii.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was the first
Complete.
one. My dumb joke.
Bad Dudes
Okay.
for the NES.
Loose?
Loose.
Okay. Stupid Dan.
Conduit 2 for the Wii, complete in box. Codename Steam for the 3DS, complete in box. And Metal Wolf Chaos XD for the PlayStation 4, complete in box.
I was feeling good until that last one.
Seriously. I'll go first. I've
I'm gonna
got
give you 85.
Okay, you go first
sorry.
then, Seth. Fine.
My bad.
105.
What'd you do, Seth? 85?
85. Yeah.
Okay. And then Dan's at 105. I'm thinking 75.
That's it.
The total is $77.66.
Ooh, John.
John takes
Nice.
it.
Very nice.
So Bad
Well
Dudes
done.
for the NES loose, $10.96. Conduit 2 for the Wii, $40.29.
Wow.
That game's gone up.
Codename Steam for the 3DS, $5.
Yeah.
And Metal Wolf Chaos XD for the PlayStation 4, complete, $21.41.
Codename Steam's never gonna not be $5. It's just in perpetual $5 land.
It's gonna be worth millions one day.
No, it's
I
not.
bought it on
Still
a game
buy it at
exchange
$5
for
below.
$3.
Look,
Yeah.
the only place it's gonna be worth millions is in our hearts. Okay, Sam.
Yes.
Just you and me and
I don't know
Seth.
why that game gets so much hate, man. I really don't.
It's a
great
great game.
It's really good.
It should have just been an Advance Wars game or something. Like, this should have just been a
Codename
spin-off.
Steam 2, man.
Seriously.
Still waiting.
Me too.
Okay.
I think you're going to.
Seth, do you want to go next?
Sure. All right. So, first game on my list. This is complete in box. The Typing of the Dead
Oh, boy.
for the Dreamcast.
Complete in box?
Complete
Is that
in
with
box.
keyboard?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it only came with the keyboard. Didn't it?
So maybe, yeah.
Okay, good night. So,
Mother of...
I don't know. I'm not sure. This is just what price charting considers complete in box.
We'll look it up later.
they usually will tell you if it'll say like
Okay.
with
Well,
bundle or
I
whatever.
think if
that's the
if
case-
it ever came without the keyboard, it would have said with keyboard, without keyboard. I
And it
think.
just said
Okay.
complete in box, like it just the Typing of the Dead, like it
So-
wasn't.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's
I
all
don't
right.
know.
We'll work it out.
We'll guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Loose. So Baseball Advance for the Game Boy Advance. Loose is next.
What?
It's a baseball game.
Okay.
Go
You
figure.
really?
Baseball.
I have a feeling Dan probably has an edge on this one. Gun Valkyrie for Xbox, complete in box.
Yeah, boy.
Yep.
You mean Dreamcast
And
2,
then-
right? Dreamcast 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Dreamcast too.
Leaning into that, next up is Panzer Dragoon Orta for the Xbox, complete in box.
I might know what your theme is if you have a theme. Do you have a
There
theme?
is a theme.
Okay, I think I know
There is
it.
a theme.
Panzer Dragoon
It's
Orta
fairly-
was this
yeah.
last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My guess is 270.
I'm going 250.
Well, it's weird for me to be the one guessing high, but I've got 325.
Oh man, if the Ghost wins this one,
Y'all are all actually pretty close. It's 243.79.
ooh, that's John again.
That's John again.
John coming in
Pretty
strong,
close
coming
all around.
back. Yeah,
So
that was a tough. That
Typing
was a
of the
tough
Dead.
basket.
yeah, it's the Typing of the Dead one's a throw off there, but the price on that's 142.03.
Yeah, that's
So-
about what I guessed.
Yeah,
That,
same.
I'm not sure if that's with or without keyboard.
Well, all of those
Baseball
of the
Advance.
Dead games are pretty high now,
Right.
so
That's fair. Yeah, Baseball Advance 1340 loose. Gun Valkyrie 5158. And then Panzer Dragoon Orta 3678.
was this?
And the theme is these are all Smilebit games.
Oh, okay, yeah, or
Smilebit games.
yeah. The developer.
Developer of Jet Set Radio Future.
Yeah.
And Smilebit, it's actually kind of sad what wound up happening to them in Amusement Vision. These kind of like great Sega developers who are making great games, and then like eventually they're just kind of like, go make sports games, and then you're dead, you know. So I kind of threw in some of Smilebit's great games that were not Jet Set Radio Future, and then one of their sports games that were not so great.
Well, they kind of
Still
went.
published by Sega.
What's that?
Is baseball still published by Sega?
Yeah. Yeah, they were still they had them relegated to. I think they literally changed their name to like Sega Sports R&D at some point.
Gosh.
You know,
Like,
they both of those developers kind of, we had a little bit of this conversation earlier. They kind of went away when AA games went away because
Yeah.
you know, like I suppose Panzer Dragoon was probably more of a niche AA. Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio were, I would say those are both pretty AAA, but like Monkey Ball was AA, and then AV got to bust out the last great F-Zero game, and then where did those niche titles go? Now everything is kind of the same game over and over and over again after like the GameCube era. So huge bummer on both of those developers' accounts.
Yeah. So you had to celebrate their catalog of great games at least.
I've got a bit of a challenge for you guys. I think it's a challenge.
Okay.
But I did the Dan thing where I put in a random word and I just find 4 things that have that word in it. So the word was box. So here we go.
Box Boy.
Zelda.
Yeah, with
I actually didn't do Box Boy. I did not do Box Boy.
Thank God.
But I don't think you're going to be any happier with what I did pick though. Zelda 4 Swords Adventures Big Box Edition, complete in box for the GameCube. Pokemon Box for the GameCube, complete in box. Oh
God.
Xbox System Halo Green Edition for the Xbox console, loose. Original Xbox, that is. And then James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing for the Sega Master System, complete in box.
Oh boy. And it's my turn to go first, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Sam. Save the best for you.
$700.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go 1,200 on this one.
Okay.
I'm taking 1,500.
All right. John is the winner, but the total is $3,150.60. And I think my wild card threw everybody off. So let me go down the prices here. Zelda 4 Swords Adventures Big Box for the GameCube is $215. Pokemon Box for the GameCube is $1,282.76. Stupidly still. Xbox System Halo Green Edition is $542.89. And James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing for the Sega Master System is $1,110.04.
Oh, good night.
Complete.
Holy moly.
Now,
what was the total again?
The Sega Genesis version is $10. So.
Oh, jeez.
It's like the Master System version of...
It was probably the last
Sonic.
game ever produced for this system.
They printed 3 of them.
Yeah. What was your question, John?
What was the total one more time?
$3,150.60. John, despite being $1,500 off, won that lot. And won the game. He won. We don't have any guest lists tonight.
Dude.
Yeah, we
swept it.
Just John.
The one I didn't win is my list, the ghost one.
That's true. You won as many points as you possibly could have in this round. And then all the rest of us 3 didn't win a single point, so we all suck.
Hey, that's fair. I'll take it.
This might be a new Flightsy record. Has anybody won every round?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see.
That's true.
We'll have to see when he puts all that info in.
We've all earned a disappointed Sam look.
But John coming back strong. I've been on a bit of a winning streak with your absence, and now I feel like I need to reclaim my throne here. So, awesome. That's how we play Price is Retro. We have a community member who sends us Games Explained Horribly, which is a really fun little segment that we do here on Prices Retro. Obviously, it's the ambassador who comes in with those. So let me grab that really quick. Okay. So how we play this game is I'm gonna give you his bad description of a video game, and we collectively have to figure out what the hell this game is. All of his answers and games are spoiler tagged, so I haven't seen them yet. I'm just gonna read them off, and he's got 2 lists. So here is the first one. His theme clue is werewolves. I thought you had them. That's it. That's good. Game 1 is Frankenstein, a cat furry, and a British zombie wish they could be invited in Street Fighter.
Darkstalkers.
Darkstalkers, yeah.
One of the Darkstalkers games.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I can't guess the specific one.
No, cat furry gives it away. Morgan?
She's in.
Yeah.
Felicia.
Yeah, it's
Felicia.
Yeah,
That's
Felicia.
Morgan is the bad
Felicia's
girl.
the cat. Yeah.
And Victor von Gerdenheim is he's a Frankenstein type monster.
Frankenstein monster.
Lord Raptor, the zombie.
Game 2. It is not Among Us, but it does have a wolf. It is a tall tale to get
The Wolf
game.
Among Us.
Wolf Among Us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but I trust you.
It's a telltale adventure
a
game,
narrative
like
game.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like Far Cry, but instead of guns, you have swords, and instead of thugs, you have
Skyrim.
shouting gibberish.
Yeah.
Is that Skyrim?
That was the whole line when Far Cry what was it, Far Cry 3 came out. It's like Skyrim with guns. That was the whole. I worked at GameStop at that time. I heard that 5 million times per day.
Wow. All right. Game 4. It is a Sonic game with a looser leash laws.
Sonic Unleashed.
Sonic 2006? Oh
yeah.
Unleashed. Okay.
Sonic Unleashed. Yeah.
There's
Nice.
a werewolf in that one, or werehog, or whatever.
All right.
Dog.
He's got game 5, which is hard mode. You guys ready? This game is like a demake of Bloodborne on the PS1 and PC. If you owned the sequel on Dreamcast, you probably wasted $50. Also, the only game where you can backflip werewolves. Is it Legacy of Kain or something like that?
I have got no clue. I was thinking at first, I thought he was being tricky because they just recently had that Bloodborne PSX demake thing that's been making the rounds.
Huh. Maybe that's a reference to it, but there's a real game here.
Maybe.
Legacy of Kain. Huh?
He said the original one is on the PS1 and then the sequel's on PS2.
PS1 on PC and the sequel's on the Dreamcast.
Or sequel's on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
So what's a PlayStation game that got a sequel on Dreamcast? Other than
Werewolf doing a
Grandia.
backflip thing has got me.
Yeah. Oh. Is he talking about Grandia?
That's what I said. Other than Grandia, I don't know of another game that got a sequel on Dreamcast.
Because there's a character in there that's like a big wolf guy.
I don't know if he does
There you go,
backflips.
that might be
I don't
it.
remember.
I don't remember backflips.
I trust you, Dan.
And if he doesn't like Grandia 2, then we're going to have problems now. Because that's like my favorite RPG of all time. But also, it's not Bloodborne at all. It's an RPG.
No.
I put my faith in Dan.
That's why I thought Legacy of Kain, because it's kind of like action-y RPG-ish. But
Yeah, but I don't think
Right.
Legacy of Kain was on Dreamcast.
I think it was. There was.
I thought Legacy of Kain 2 is on
Maybe the
not
Dreamcast
also
version.
on PlayStation.
Maybe the Dreamcast version was bad or something. Okay, let's get some answers here. Okay, what was our the first game? We guessed Darkstalkers.
Yep.
Darkstalkers Night Warriors. Second game, it's not Among Us. It's Wolf. What was it?
Wolf Among Us.
Wolf Among Us.
Among Us.
And Wolf Among Us. I gave you that one on a silver platter. He said in the parentheses. Game 3, it's like Far Cry but with guns. Is
That
a
one was
Skyrim. Yep, Skyrim. Game 4, it's a Sonic game with looser leash laws, Sonic Unleashed. And then here we go, Game 5. We don't have a straight answer, but if it's Grandia 2, I'm going to be mad. If it's Legacy of Kain,
you take it either way.
Yeah.
You can't lose.
Oh, Nightmare Creatures.
What?
Nightmare Creatures, the original Souls game.
What?
Have you played
Nightmare
that?
Creatures also on N64?
No.
I haven't played it. It was on N64 as well.
That's what I thought.
I've never played that game.
About this game.
All right, bonus round, guys. Bonus horribly explained games. He says, theme. Sorry about the nuns. Here, games Dan would know.
Dan doesn't know Mortal Kombat.
No, well, that was weird. Did you listen to that episode?
I did listen to it.
That was weird. Sorry about
I
the
didn't get that
I
one
got
either.
it
Don't
before
feel
you.
bad.
I wish you were on the show. All right, game number 1. An N64 game that rhymes with sock crumble.
Buck Bumble.
Buck Bump.
Oh, suck crumble. Yeah, I read it wrong. Also, the game your aunt buys you because it's under $10 in the clearance bin.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's good. It's a good reference. Yeah, definitely Buck Bumble. Game 2. A small woodland creature gets into an F-11 raptor, flies into space, and shoots large apes. Star Fox 64.
Yep.
A young man gets his master's degree in blasting a Humvee tank. Oh, Blast Core? Probably.
Yeah, it's got to be Blast Core.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Dan spent the national debt on this arcade game featuring a junkated family that punches clowns and wrestlers. Clay Fighter?
Yeah. Just the clowns and wrestlers got to be cool.
The Blockbuster exclusive version or whatever.
Sculptor's Cut.
Yeah. Game 5. An astronaut lands on a foreign planet and immediately thinks, I should enslave the entire race and make them do my bidding. Rated E for everyone on Wii and GameCube.
Pikmin.
Yeah.
Yep.
They willingly help him, okay? This isn't Pokemon. It's not mince words. Okay, so our first game guess was Suck Crumble, which is Buck Bumble. Second game was Woodland Creatures get an F-11 Raptor, which is Star Fox. Game 3, a young man gets his master's degree, Blast Core. Oh, Blaster Master. A young man gets his master's degree. Yeah.
The master's degree.
I was stuck in N64 mode. That was the problem.
Me too.
I was stuck there too, yeah, because all those.
Well, the Humvee thing got me too.
Yeah. Humvee tank license, yeah. Game 4. I'm pretty sure Dan spent the national debt. That's Clay Fighter. Oh, Simpsons Arcade. Dan spent the national debt.
I was going to say that. I should have said that. Yeah.
Oh, Krusty. Dang it.
Yeah, that's... An astronaut lands on a foreign planet and immediately thinks I shouldn't enslave the entire thing is Pikmin.
Now I just have the Buck Bumble theme stuck in my head.
Bump to the beat, to the bump, to the bass. Bump to the Buck Bumble.
To Buck Bumble.
So good. So good. We'll see if I remember. I'll put that song in the episode somewhere, but there's a chance I won't.
Dude.
There's a large chance I won't. I'm gonna write it down right now. Buck Bumble song on
It
our
just needs to be
Jack
our
Ryan Radio
fade out
episode.
for the break.
As if there isn't 100 other songs I could put in an episode about Grand Theft
No, do it.
Jack Ryan Radio.
What about the Codename Steam theme song?
Also a great theme song.
That lives in my head rent free.
Yeah, no thank you. I have one more game for us, and it is called Blankopedia. And I'm going to pull up Wikipedia and type it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the description of a video game from Wikipedia, blanking out the name, and you guys are going to shout out when you think you know what it is. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Blank is a 1995 rail shooter game for the Sega Saturn, published by Sega and developed by Sega's Team Andromeda Studio.
Panzer Dragoon.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
Got
Ding,
it.
ding, ding.
Nailed it. I chose that before before the game was brought up by Seth in the.
He brought up Orta.
Now here we are. I know, but I mean, once you hear rail shooter,
But still.
as soon as I said the word dragon, somebody was going to be like, "Duh!" But
Yeah.
y'all are smarter than that. That's going to just about do it for this round of Prices Retro. Oh, we got a trivia cards back. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. They're either really easy or impossible. Let's do it.
Yeah, these are really poor or really good.
Either really easy or about GTA.
Exactly.
And we all know nothing about it.
I knew that one. I was listening to that in my car screaming. I'm like, it's GTA 4. It's Nico Bellic.
Well, I'm glad you're on this episode now, Seth. Let's do it.
Which golfer featured in the title of the EA Sports game PGA Tour after Tiger Woods was removed from the franchise in 2015?
Oh, God.
What the heck? Nolan Ryan?
You mean there are
That's a big-
golfers other than Tiger Woods?
No, wait, no. I know this. It's Arnold Palmer.
No. He was too busy doing lemonades by then.
I don't
Is
know.
it like Dave something?
Oh my gosh. None of us are going to know this.
It's the answer is Rory McIlroy.
Oh, obviously. Rory.
McIlroy?
Oh,
Hey.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yes,
That guy.
I don't know any golfers either. So
Can't believe I didn't remember that guy's name. Stupid. Next question.
you get one like that, and then you get this. Which video game developer created Uncharted game series?
Never heard of him.
That one, Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there you go.
That actually was kind of hard
Crash
for me because
Bandicoot guys.
I don't follow any of that, but they're in the
I want to see the movie.
They're in the zeitgeist.
I do too. I haven't got to do that yet.
It does look good.
It looks like dumb fun.
Yeah, I'm down for dumb fun.
Like the games.
So, guys, let's do our show topic. When we come back, show topic time. You've waited long enough. Let's do it.
Bump to the boot, to the boot, to the boot, boot, bump to the bass, to the bass, bass.
Welcome back, you guys. We're going to talk about one of the greatest games ever made tonight. No arguments allowed. We have already determined this. And our good friend Seth is here to kind of guide us through it. Because I have some pretty good experience with this game, but I haven't played it in a long time. And this guy's been doing some research, you guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your project first there, Seth? Is that something you can chat about?
Yeah, sure. So I was hoping to have it done, but it's not done yet. It will hopefully be done within the next week from you guys hearing this. But I have been working for the past month or so. I knew that the 20th anniversary of Jet Set Radio Future was coming up, and I had it in the back of my mind, like our YouTube channel is all Nintendo focused. So I'm like, how in the world am I going to tie Jet Set Radio into Nintendo? That was my whole thing initially. I was like, I want to talk about this game because I love it so much. I just want a reason to talk about it.
It was on Game Boy Advance. You're fine.
Exactly. So that was where it started. That was where the thought process started. But the idea sort of started off as like a love letter to the series, and I was just kind of gushing about it and everything. And then it became research into the series at large and learning about the multiple times over the years that the series has tried to come back through multiple means. We, of course, did get a GBA port of Jet Grind Radio, and it was like fine, like kind of cool. Like it's cool they even made it work at all, but it's not quite the same.
It's kind of like the Crazy Taxi port. Like, oh, this works.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
They did it in the Tony Hawk Pro Skater engine, and so it's like top-down isometric. It's a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, the video started off as that. It was just going to be me gushing about Jet Set Radio and then loosely tying it into GBA so I could justify it being on my Nintendo channel. And then that became researching different pitches, because there have been a couple of times in history where the series has been pitched to Sega to come back. One of them being very famously a pitch for the Nintendo Wii done by Kuju Entertainment. And I went in, I was like, I wonder if I can, because so little is known about it. Some concept art has been leaked from the pitch, but basically nothing else has ever been known about this pitch. And I look up Kuju Entertainment because I was like, I wonder if I could speak to somebody who knew anything about this. And you like can't get a hold of them online. Their Twitter is like dead. Their website won't load. They're dust. So what I wound up doing was I found the artist that made the concept art for the pitch. He's an artist named Corey Lewis. And over the past month or so, I've been talking to him off and on, and I have compiled information based on what he knows about the pitch. The pitch didn't get very far. Like, there's just not a whole lot to know. But when this video comes out, it's basically going to be like me gushing about my love for the series, but it's also going to be the most complete look at what Jet Set Radio Wii would have been if it had been greenlit.
You're going to make us want something that we can never have.
I know.
What you're going to do.
I know. I know. But it was really cool because Corey was able to give me some insight on the sort of like creative liberties they're wanting to take, the sort of like soul of Jet Set Radio that Kuju is wanting to maintain, and some things that they were going to do with the Wii hardware specifically that has never been known about before. So it's going to be pretty cool for Jet Set Radio fans who have been like kind of wondering about this pitch to finally have something of an idea of what this might have been like. It didn't get far, but it would have been amazing. And now, of course, years later, Dinosaur Entertainment pitched Sony to try to get a PS4 Jet Set Radio game made with actually like a concept video that's out there online, and that never happened. And now you've got a whole bunch of indie games who have kind of like taken inspiration from Jet Set Radio, games like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Which I would say that's a little more than inspiration. That's a pretty much like, if you like Jet Set Radio, this is exactly what you want. Like,
it looks amazing.
Down to the like low poly, cell shaded, like the music. Yeah. I'm hyped for that game.
Dances.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of indie games doing that these days, it seems like.
There's like Hover Revolt of Gamers, which is kind of also tapped into that a little bit. Some games that have taken inspiration. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, though, is definitely like, if they're not going to do it, it's the Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself thing, you know? So, but the video is sort of just like a pathway through Jet Set Radio's history and future and the way it's inspired other games, but also taking a pit stop in the realm of Nintendo to talk about stuff like the GBA port, but also to like give some insight on what this Wii version would have been like. For the first time really ever, this video will be the most complete history of Jet Set Radio Wii. So that'll be really cool. I've been working on that for a while, and I'm happy to finally have all of the pieces that I need to make it. And I was hoping to have it like available now and launch it today and everything, but that didn't work out. But it should be going live. I will be screaming it from the rooftops when it finally is done and goes live. So you guys will hear about it. But yeah, that's my first time announcing it right here on the show.
First of all, thank you for dropping that news on the internet through us. That's an honor. Of course. And I'm super hyped to watch it. So get the thing done, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's pretty close to being done. There was just like, I was basically waiting on like one final piece of the puzzle to get to me, and I just got it on Saturday. So I finally have everything I need. I just need to get it all done. So it should be done within this next week.
Yes.
So look forward to that.
Good. All right. Well, make sure you guys are following. Is it going to keep Nintendo weird thing?
It's just going to go up on youtube.com/all-in podcast.
Okay. So it's an all-in thing. Yeah, well, make sure you guys are following them on all the channels so that you don't miss that. Go follow them on Twitter, All In, Nintendo Podcast, and on the YouTube. And really just go follow them on their podcast thing too, because it's really a great podcast if you like video games or Nintendo in general. So go do that. For the purposes of this topic, for this episode, we're going to go through some of our personal experiences with the game. You know, where it started for us, what our initial impressions were. I have some interesting fun facts here too, so we can go through some of that and related to what that is, and then that'll pretty much be what we do here. I don't want to delve too much into what Seth has behind the curtain.
Sure.
But whatever's commonly known out there, you know, we'll definitely cover that here, mixed in with a bit of our own salt and pepper and spice as we do. So, first off, who's played this game? Has anybody here played a Jet Ground Radio game before? Sam, John?
Nope.
No.
I'm out.
I
on
didn't have
this
a
one.
Dreamcast.
What?
I didn't have an Xbox.
So I remember seeing this game as a kid and being like, what the heck is this? And
How old were you in 2000?
2000, I was, 14?
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember seeing stuff pretty early on, like before Dreamcast even came out, like when they were showcasing like some stuff that was coming out. And I don't know. It just wasn't a game that was scratching my itch at the time. And I was pretty much playing RPGs and fighting games at that time. And this wasn't either of those. So, I missed out.
The funny thing is, from what I read, the concept art, like the art style was chosen first, and the team went through a bunch of different genres. They were like, is this an RPG? Is this a fighting game? Like, what are we making here? And RPG was seriously considered. So you almost got what you wanted there, John.
Yeah, I almost would have, yeah. But no, this is definitely one that I've wanted to play one of these games. I haven't like totally went and sought it out yet, but I definitely, every time I'm in my local, I check to see if there's a copy of either the Dreamcast or the Xbox game.
Mm-hmm. The Xbox One is
one yet.
Yeah, the Xbox One is really, really good, and it's dirt cheap. So just go get it. Just go find one.
I'll just have to go.
And it still holds up, man.
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio Future still completely holds up 20 years later. Like, I've been playing a ton of it for the video to capture footage, and like, it's so hard. Every time I play it, it's so hard to not just like get stuck on it and just play it for like 2-3 hours. It's still so good. It's timeless.
So the funny thing, Seth, is that I actually have never played the Xbox game. I've never played Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh my gosh.
I've only played Jet Grind Radio. And so for me, I feel like it's kind of like that Borderlands to Borderlands 2 thing that I experienced, where like, dude, I was obsessed with the first Borderlands and then just dropped off. And so like when I finally jumped into Borderlands 2 on the Switch, I was like, what have I been missing? And my head exploded because like everything I loved about Borderlands was fully realized in like the nth degree in the second one. So I'm going to have to put some time set some time aside to actually jump into 2 when I finally get around to it.
I could not have said that better myself. Like that's exactly what it is. Like the first Jet Grind Radio, I love it. It's a great game, but it does, compared to Future, it does feel like a proof of concept. Like when you get into Future, it just feels so much more complete. It's big, it's blown up. It feels like the fully realized version of the Jet Grind Radio idea, and it is still excellent. I promise you. You pick that game up on Xbox and play it, it still completely holds up today. Like, it just feels good to play, and like the graphics look 20 years later, they still look just as good. Like, cell shading always holds up better, right? But
is that available on the backwards compatibility situation on Xbox?
Don't get me started on that. So so on Xbox 360 you can play it backwards compatibly, but that is the last.
What about
console.
Digitally?
No,
you can't buy it digitally.
You cannot play it digitally on Xbox One or Xbox Series S or X for some reason. It's got to be some kind of licensing thing. I don't know, but that's always been what's dogged me. I'm like, guys, if you simply announce JSRF on Xbox Series X, I will make it my mission to get an Xbox Series X. Like, that will sell me an Xbox Series X, right? Because I just want to be able to play that on modern hardware. But no, Xbox 360 is the latest like hardware you can play the game on.
And you even had
it's not even really the preferred way to play it. The original hardware is the best way to play it.
You said you had to download drivers to get it to run on your PC.
The
and
original
Steam.
Jet Grind Radio.
Yeah. Oh, the original. Okay. All right. Not Future. Is Future on Steam?
No.
Wait, so
really Future's not been made digitally anywhere.
So really, unless you have an Xbox 360 or an Xbox, you just can't play it.
No. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And this was a prolific, I mean, when the game came out, like that's something that always strikes me is like Sega really kind of, we talk about this all the time, just us, like Xbox was Dreamcast 2.
Yeah, that's a common theme in our conversation for sure.
Totally. And like Sega was like super supportive of the Xbox, and this was a pack-in game The Sega GT 2002/JSRF in that dual disc was like a pack-in thing in 2002.
And it's funny because that disc is so prolific. It's like $10 is like an expensive copy of that game. But if you get the standalone Jet Set Radio Future is like $60.
Yep.
Bananas.
I wish I had that too, because it's got the cover art's like hollow foil. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Love it. Sam, any experience with your impression of this game? Did you see it, a poster of it somewhere at some point? Anything?
I mean, I've heard you guys talk about it. Clearly you like it a lot.
I think you would like it, Sam, because it's sort of, I know that you like The World Ends With You and stuff like that. It totally has that vibe. It has that sort of, Shibuya, Harajuku, like Japanese culture is like pulsating through that game. Like it definitely has those same vibes.
Do you like Tony Hawk, Sam?
I can tell. Yeah, I can tell that like aesthetic is there from World Ends With You. It's weird because that's something I had to come around to with World Ends With You.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like, this just seems too hip for me. I don't know. But I was just interested because of the dual screen stuff, because of other reasons that kind of pulled me into that. But I don't know. Tony Hawk, I mean, I played it back in the day. I had fun, but it's a game that I've gone back to and not really found a whole lot to go back to.
Okay.
Tony Hawk. It's
but
like,
you found the gameplay.
I remember this being more fun than it seems to be now.
Sure.
But
you were able to, like, that was fun at the time for you. Tony Hawk.
Yeah. But I mean, like, everybody loved Tony Hawk back in the day.
I think you'd like it still.
I think you'd like it too.
Yeah.
And the thing about Jet Set Radio is there is zero mechanical depth to it. Like, the thing about Jet Set Radio is it's not like in Tony Hawk where you're having to do button combinations to perform tricks or anything like that.
Oh, no.
Like,
it's very simple.
Literally you're just pressing a button and performing tricks either grinding or in the air. It's all about like a flow state. It's all about movement. It's all about like the way it feels to get around the world. It's not about getting a high score or tricks or anything. It's about navigating these really inviting open spaces and tagging them with graffiti, interacting with characters. Like there's not a ton of mechanical depth to it. It's not really about that.
Yeah, that's very true, and that actually was a kind of a refreshing thing about it.
I
was
agree.
How well the automatic parts of the controls work. Like grabbing onto the back of a car just happens.
Yeah.
Doing tricks, like you just kind of do them. If you have enough space, you will just do a trick in the air and then you'll get extra points just by virtue of having enough space to do it. And then the feeling of like grinding while tagging is just like really frenetic and feels really, really good. If you get the timing down.
The point where narratively they even worked in some janky stuff with the narrative where it's like, yeah, they have like magnets in their roller skates. So that it justifies that they just kind of snap on. Like if you jump onto a rail, you're just kind of there. You're not in any real danger. You're not going to like wipe out. It's just not that kind of game.
Yeah.
It's all about just fluidity
and momentum,
freeform like expression.
A lot of momentum,
and momentum
required. You got to make sure you get enough speed to do what you want to do. But yeah, so I think you would like it. So my first experience with this game, obviously Dreamcast. Back when the Dreamcast was the Dreamcast, the year 2000. And I think my older brother brought it home one day. But we were pretty well steeped into what was going on with the Dreamcast at the time. So I'm sure it was something we were hype about checking out. Because we were also just fans of Tony Hawk and fans of like alternative hardcore music or like electronic music, that kind of thing. So... the art style definitely spoke to us. It just kind of all around spoke to like us as teenagers at the time. I was 13, he was 17, so that was like prime age for us to be like, whoa, like this definitely is our aesthetic and our something that we would be into. And one of the fun facts that I came across was the fact that the average age of the development team is under 25 years old for the first game. Yep. So you have references like Fight Club and Parappa the Rapper in this, you know. That's like were major inspirations for the plot and the style of the game, which were all things that like we loved when we were 13 and 17, you know. So definitely spoke to me in where I was at the age of 13 in 2000.
Yeah, and that's that whole age thing that you bring up is something that, and I won't get super in the weeds on it because I do get in the weeds in this a little bit in the video, but the age thing is a huge factor in kind of the heart and soul of Jet Set Radio, and that's a huge reason why the development team doesn't go back to it, because they're like, we can't make the same game we made when we were 25,
right?
You know, we don't have that perspective anymore. Jet Set Radio totally has that teenage, rebellious, you know, soulful. It's all about like that was what spoke to me so heavily about this game when I first played it. And I actually, Jet Set Radio Future was my first interaction with the series. I went back to play Jet Grind Radio.
Wow. Okay.
Later.
That's interesting.
And Jet Set Radio Future, though, like that was what spoke to me so much. Like, it comes through in the art that these are young kids who are wanting to express themselves through this game that's all about freeform momentum and graffiti and stuff. And that's what spoke to me, is because at the time, I was also a young kid wanting to express myself, you know?
Well, and even the way that
I connected with it.
Even the way that they express artistically, like, all of the other gangs are cookie cutter. All of the police officers are cookie cutter. The only unique looking characters in the entire game is your 3 gang and Professor K.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of other some of the other gangs are kind of interesting. Like, you have Poison Jam, who are all like obsessed with kaiju, so they have like dinosaur masks on and stuff.
Right.
You have like the Love Shockers, who are this all-female gang who have like heart, you know, eye patches and stuff. The other Rudies, the other street gangs, are kind of interesting. But the whole idea of like the oppressive corporation with the Rikaku group is all over the place. And like the antagonistic force of the game is the police, who are trying to like kill kids. Like, they're shooting at you and stuff, and they bring out like tanks and like spider tanks and stuff, and they're trying to actually kill children, right? You know, well, we're not going to talk about that, I guess.
T for teen. Rated T for teen.
Yeah, but it's all about like I totally connected with just like the spirit of that game, because I definitely felt like it taps into the Tony Hawk thing, the sort of like, I think a lot of us connected with the Tony Hawk games when we were, you know, rebellious teens or whatever. It influenced like musical tastes and stuff, introduced us to like skating or punk rock or whatever. But then Jet Set Radio took that kind of vibe and meshed it with like anime and Japanese culture and freeform expression, momentum, graffiti, stuff like that. And like, I don't think I've ever, before or since, I don't think I've ever connected with a game the same way I connected with Jet Set Radio, where I was like, this feels like it was made for me, you know, like literally feels like it was made for me.
Well, and they did the right thing by, when you make a game that basically is seeped in a style or like a time, they brought in the artists to get that done, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they weren't just the developers trying to make this style of the game. They brought in Eric Hayes, who designed album covers for the Beastie Boys and stuff like that, you know, to do the graffiti. And tons of pretty well-known artists, music artists, to create the soundscape of this game, which is just still probably one of the greatest soundtracks to any video game ever made.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah. That's still the collaborative spirit of the game is something that you're still seeing games that are inspired by it trying to sort of tap into. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk just wrapped up a graffiti street art contest where it's like, hey, we're going to have the fans submit graffiti to get thrown into the game, you know. And like you said, Hideki Naganuma's soundtrack to the game is a huge collaborative effort of sound samples from a million bizarre little things, you know, and just making this something totally unique and energetic and collaborative. And that's such a huge part of Jet Set Radio.
The soundtrack sounds like an album I would have popped in. Like it's Fatboy Slim.
I still listen to it,
or like Crystal Method, or just whatever, whatever was popular at the time in EDM when it was called whatever else. Just like something you would just pop in, throw a record on, and it's the soundtrack to this game. So I haven't played the second one again, like I said, but I think it's interesting that your experience was going backwards, whereas mine is gonna go forwards once I actually play Future. Because just the fact that my love for this game runs so deep, and I never even played the sequel, just kind of speaks to how much this game just kind of grabs you. It's just eye candy.
Gonna blow your mind when you play Future.
I can't wait. I should probably just stream it when that happens. So
please,
you can watch my head explode.
Yes.
That'd
be beautiful.
So I burned through some of my fun facts while we were talking, but I have a couple more that we could probably chat about a little bit. One of them is that they attempted to make the game impossible to duplicate on PS2 hardware by pushing the Dreamcast to its limits, using very bright colors, realistic shadows, and more than 16 NPCs on screen without lag, which apparently the game would have been impossible to port on the PS2 accurately because of its smaller memory size, which I find really funny and interesting.
That is funny. Yeah, Dreamcast trying to, trying to like make its name for itself. Just like, we belong here too. Because
didn't the PS2 was a 2001 launch?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think so.
2000 maybe?
So they still
2000.
Yeah.
Was
it late 2000?
Okay, I'm going to look it up now. In North America. It was late 2000. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So October 26th in North America. Mm-hmm. And that is a week before this game comes out in North America. So
that's hilarious.
They were probably really pushing this game to be a system seller for the Dreamcast and to really I don't know, man. What were the launch titles on the PS2 even?
Not great.
That's the thing. If I'm looking at the PS2
brawler
launch titles for the PS2 were DVDs.
DVDs. Right. Oh gosh. That's a great point.
None of this is Jet Grind Radio. So yeah, it's all just very Midnight Club, MotoGP.
Some sports games.
Yeah, a bunch of sports games. They had Time Splitters, I guess, but this is more window. Window of launch. But that to me is hilarious and bananas and makes total sense considering how much in the PS2's shadow the Dreamcast felt for most of its life. My other fact... What?
The year after it came out.
Yeah. I'm depressed. My other factoid is that in North America, it was released on October 31st as Jet Grind Radio due to trademark problems for the words Jet Set in the United States, which
that's funny to me.
Nobody can even tell me what that is. Why they had problems.
I don't know what the contested trademark was. Something just something was giving them issues with the Jet Set moniker. So they had to call it Jet Grind here in the States, where it's Jet Set everywhere else. And then future releases were Jet
It's
Set
fine
Radio.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right. Actually worked it out.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. Well, yeah, we didn't get too deep into this game, but I really want to save a lot of that discussion for you guys and for the post video launch discussion. But it's a nice little teaser for what's to come. So, any final thoughts here, Seth? Anything else you want to throw in before we move on?
Oh gosh, yeah, I could be here all night talking about this game. I think that just again, for me playing the game as a teenager, like I connected with it so deeply. I felt, more than any game before since that it just like I felt at home there in Tokyoto. I still do. Like I still like playing that game feels like going home. Like it's deeper than just simple nostalgia. Like those even just the areas, even just 99th Street and Dogenzaka Hill and stuff like that feels like home to me, and I know every inch of those levels, and like there's something so there's just something so energetic about it. There's something about like you've got one of the main collectibles of the game is graffiti souls, and so the game's got a lot to say about having an oppressive force trying to remove the soul of the city out of it, and trying to take the soul away from the kids who inhabit this city. And I think that's something that still resonates with me today. And then the story also goes like really weird places where the antagonist of the game, the leader of the Rokaku Corporation, Rokaku Goji, turns into like a demon. And he's voiced by Charles Martinet, by the way. A lot of people don't know that.
No way.
The antagonist of Jet Set Radio Future is voiced by Charles Martinet, the voice actor of Mario. So
was Sega trying to make a statement there?
And that's the thing, right? Maybe. Like, that wouldn't shock me at all. That wouldn't shock me one bit if it's like, hey, Dreamcast failed, whatever. Here's our original Xbox where the voice actor of Mario is playing the villain. You know what I mean? That's totally possible.
Love it.
So there's a lot of little stuff like that. And that's a huge reason why they're not making it today. And it's kind of up to the indie scene and people like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk and Team Reptile who are making these games, because Sega is sort of at a place where it's like, let's acknowledge Jet Set Radio's history and the importance that Jet Set Radio has, but we're just not about, like, that's just not for us anymore. It's not for us to tell these kinds of stories anymore. It's for the indie scene. It's for these other people. And as much as I would love to see another Jet Set Radio game, I'm so happy that people can be inspired by it and carry that spirit forward.
Yeah.
In the indie game scene.
Well, and
like,
Sega, Sega being famously okay with people riffing on their IP, or straight up ripping it off. I almost wonder if like anybody had just asked for the IP. If they would,
I don't know.
I don't know.
They care about it because they still bring it up. They trot it out all the time. Like Beat is a playable character in Monkey Ball Banana Mania, and like they sell Jet Set Radio merch on their website. Like they care about Jet Set Radio as an IP, but I don't know how interested they are in doing anything with it anymore, because I just think that they might do it to get like some nostalgia dollars out of people eventually. But I think that they're at this place right now where they're like, we don't know if we really want to make it anymore.
Interesting.
So, I don't know.
Very interesting.
Well, like the original development team is, they pretty much have concluded that if somebody else, if there's going to be another one, it needs to be made by someone else. It needs to be made by
younger people.
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
And so I mean that means it's ultimately going to be different. Like it can't still be, the voice of youth and also be the same as it was.
That's so true. Yeah.
All those guys are almost 50
those dudes
now.
are like 50 now. Exactly. Those dudes are like 50 years old.
That's really interesting. What would today's Jet Grind Radio look like? That's a good question that I don't want to go into anymore. I'll save that for another discussion over at All In. We can have that discussion sometime.
There you go.
Thank you, Seth, for coming on, chatting about Jet Grind Radio. We are going to jump into our community couch. We've got a couple questions to ponder and to talk about. So we're going to do that after this break, and we'll see you guys in just a minute.
That was too soft.
Welcome back. Welcome to the community couch. We're here. Seth is with us still. And just as a reminder for our community, we have the Odama-rama podcast live. You can go play Breath of Fire for Breath of Fire-bruary. All those things. Go do all the things. As if you didn't have enough games to worry about or podcasts to listen to. Let me just throw one more on there. We have some community couch questions. The first one comes to us from Nintendo Man, who asks, I saw Dan mention his wife isn't into gaming. With gaming seemingly a big part of your life, how does that work? Do you ever feel judged for it? Does she try? If this isn't something you want to talk about on the podcast, I understand. Just curious. And the other podcasts, how do their significant others, for the others on the podcast, how do their significant others do with their gaming hobby? I threw a little answer to this in the Discord, and I'll kind of repeat that and go into a little bit more detail here. And that is that my wife does not care about video games at all. Like, just is super not interested, doesn't want to, doesn't care. She basically supports my hobby, but not caring. She's like, that's fine. That's your thing. Go do your thing. Like, I don't, don't ask me to do it, but it's fine, Sure. And so like, I have my own fund where like we budget and I get fund money every month, and it all just goes into video games, and I'll sell games to buy other games. And so that's just kind of a separate thing. I have my man cave in the garage, and like when we hang out, there's zero video games involved. We watch Food Network, or we watch a movie, or we just talk or whatever, but it is a little weird. Like, it does sometimes feel like I have to live almost like this double life, because like she won't like if I talk about a thing I'm excited about in video games, she'll give me like a very supportive like smile and nod.
That's nice, honey.
While like not caring at all, or understanding what I'm talking about. Which, like, I guess that's the best I can hope for somebody who just has zero interest in it. Like, thanks for
humoring me,
patting me on the back, and not telling me don't play video games anymore. Like, that's the best case scenario. So I'm fine with it. It works. I guess part of me, like, I have ADHD and I could be very impulsive and addiction prone. So I guess part of me is like very thankful to have that person attached to me for the rest of my life, who kind of will keep me grounded in reality. Otherwise, I probably would just delve into an escapism addiction craze, and you'd never see me again. So, and there's a part of me that like would love that, but that's not entirely healthy. So yeah, like, it's good that I didn't marry a gamer. I think that's a good thing for me personally. But I want to hear from the rest of you guys. What does your significant other think of your gaming habits? How does that affect the dynamic of your relationship? That kind of stuff. And then Sam, I don't know, however you want to answer this question. Do you want to marry a gamer? Like, is that part of what you look for? Or
No.
No.
I mean, it sounds great, but like at the same time, it's like, part of the wonderful thing about games is it's something I can generally just enjoy by myself. So
right.
It's a way to recharge and cool down before I have to interact with other people, which I don't like doing much. So it is nice to be able to like share that with other people, and that's something I haven't had in my life a lot. But I mean, even then, that's rare. I mean, there's gamers and there's gamers, Right. I know people who will chat about, Destiny or whatever, and I'm over here like, I've been playing Odama. And they're like, what's that? So,
that is kind of interesting.
I honestly, I just get used to finding other ways to connect with people, because even with other people who play games, my taste in games is just very different.
I totally relate to that.
Sometimes I have nothing else in common with them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the case in like high school. It was like I knew other people who were really into games, but they were all playing World of Warcraft, and I was like, yeah, I just play Nintendo games. It's like we have literally nothing else in common.
Yeah.
Even the games we play are different.
I relate to that. Like, I find it difficult to kind of share my love of Nintendo or Sega or retro gaming in with the general population because they're just not there. And that's kind of where my wife is at. And I almost think like it would be, and I'm sure some of you listeners have this experience, but like it would be weird for me to share, like what would like a 2-player experience even look like with somebody that like I have like a very specific like lifelong dynamic with in the way, like when I play games with my 6-year-old, like I don't destroy him like I could, because then he's never going to want to play a video game. He's going to be like, well, I suck.
Sure.
Why would I do this? So like if I were,
That'll change.
If I had a gamer wife, like what's it like to like balance that? Like, am I going to play my absolute hardest? And like maybe she's way better than me, and then like am I gonna feel like crap, or like is she gonna, like it's such an emotional experience that like I don't know that I would like to have that much of a competitive situation going on with my wife when like we're already fighting about dishes. Like, do I need another thing to fight about? Like,
Sure.
maybe that's not even a thing if you have a chill, I don't know, everybody's
Can any marriage survive Mario Party?
yeah, right.
For us, it's Overcooked. My wife works in the restaurant business, so Overcooked is a nightmare between the two of us.
Yeah.
I think to answer that question, Dan, what my wife and I have found, my wife is not a hardcore gamer. She has like her games that she really likes. It's a short, stern list, but she's not like, she's not picking up Pokemon Legends Arceus and playing it for 50 hours. You know what I mean? Like, she loves Animal Crossing and Spelunky, and there's a few games that she really enjoys. For us, whenever we try to do stuff together, a big one for us was the Ace Attorney games. So that's a really good example. Or like the Telltale games is a good example of this. Like a game where she can actually be the one in control, and so she has her attention focused. But I can feel like I'm participating as well, giving input on the story, or kind of like guiding a little bit, or saying like, maybe we should do this. Or Ace Attorney is really great because it's a detective game, so we can like sit here and pitch theories back and forth to each other. And it's kind of a cooperative experience, even though it isn't like, it doesn't say 1 to 2 players on the box. It's a 1-player game, So we try to kind of take single player experiences and make them cooperative almost.
That's really cool. That's really cool. What about you, John?
I have a very similar situation to Dan. So my wife doesn't really play games. She grew up in a house with a brother that plays games like I do, and she never really was part of it. And I guess that just continued on as she got older. I've tried to get her to play some games. I bought her Animal Crossing because she watched me play it and thought it was something she'd want to play. So I was like, all right, here you go. You're not playing on my island, but here's your island,
Yeah.
But she's very supportive of like, especially like helping me collect things, or she'll see things and she'll let me know. And whenever you could still find amiibos physically in a store, I could tell my wife like, hey, this is release day, I gotta work, can you like go get in a line somewhere and get these?
Right. Nice.
She would do that, those kinds of things. But actually playing games, like pretty much the only game that she'll sit down and play with me or with the kids is Mario Kart. She really likes Mario Kart, and we've been playing since like the Wii. So like she likes the motion controls, which nobody likes. So
My wife does too. Yeah.
So she's like, how do you guys win all the time? It's like, it's because you're using motion controls, babe.
Literally. Yeah.
She's using tilt controls.
Yes. But yeah, no, there's a reason why we started this podcast, because we're definitely not talking video games with our wives.
You got to have your community, right? And it is,
Yeah.
it is
Found your
cool.
tribe.
Yeah, it is cool when your wife is able to really fully like be involved in the hobby, but it is also kind of nice to have the separation. So I guess it just kind of depends on your relationship, I don't think there's a wrong way to do that.
I feel like the greater level of friction comes when somebody else thinks that you're spending too much either time or money on something they don't see as important.
Sure, that's the greatest balance.
Valuable.
That's the greatest balance, and I think that's where I come in, where I'm like thankful that she's not like me in this area. So yeah, I think that's the best case scenario for the balance of my life. I'm really thankful for her. Good convo on that one. John J 3000 has another question for us, and might also be a long conversation. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. Realistically, how long do y'all think physical games will be made outside of the limited run and boutique type stuff? So this is like they're just going to make almost every digital game available physically in a normal package and not just be like a limited run, pre-order only, whatever, special edition physical thing.
Not for a long time. Not in our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime, really?
No. I think that when this was a huge thing, right? When Xbox One was first coming out, they're like, hey, look we're going to do all digital. And then they did the famous Xbox 180, right? And they're like, psych, actually, no, you guys hate that. We're not at a place as a culture and a society yet to completely give up physical, We're not at a place, publishers are not at a place where they can say, hey, Walmart, we don't need you anymore. GameStop, or whatever, all these brick and mortar stores, we don't need you anymore. And then, people who care about buying games physically, there's still a lot of people, not even just collectors, like the common person who wants to buy their game physically. So I think that there's always going to be a physical market, even beyond just collecting, for many, many years. He dropped
a graph, and I won't go over all the details, but he dropped a graph in our Discord, and the bottom line is that 14.9 billion in sales for physical games versus 158 billion in sales for digital, which is is that, I want to make sure I'm saying these numbers right. Global digital revenue. Yeah. That's revenue, which is
I'd like to see it by region.
Something like 10% of the sales now are physical, which seems like a small number, but I don't think any industry is ready to just say goodbye to $14 billion.
No.
That's still a lot of money that they can make off of people like you and me who want to buy physical. It costs them more money to produce the physical product, but the revenue's still there, I think a lot of the buying power would have to die off. And you might be right about this, Seth, in our lifetime, because a lot of the buying power is in our hands right now, the 20s and 30s, who have all the expendable income in the world, and none of the time. Where when we outgrow it, or when we die off, then the buying power shifts to the people who are more used to having a total digital or streaming library. Because we still all grew up going to Blockbuster, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think though, because you look at those other media where streaming is more prevalent, like film or music, and that's the way most people get their stuff. But it's not like the physical media disappeared at all. There may be less of it. There may be more stuff that doesn't get released the same way, but I think there's always going to be physical media, and certainly in the boutique sense, but I think it'll be larger than that, but it will be smaller than it is now, because most people will be content not to bother picking up. The biggest thing, the threat to it, I think, is not so much that digital is easier for people to access or all that. It's the fact that even when you buy a physical game today, you have to download updates on day one. So effectively, what you're buying isn't
all games
a complete game. Effectively, we're kind of already there, because you aren't guaranteed when you buy a game off the shelf that it would actually work if you're not online. And Seth brings up that the pushback on the Xbox One being all digital, there was also pushback on it being always requiring a connection. But that's effectively the case now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not officially, it's not like the thing won't start, but like you're
There's a day
actually
one
not,
patch
your
every
games
time.
are not playable if you don't connect to the internet oftentimes, or they're, bugged at the very least.
Yeah. That's true in a sense. And I also think that I don't know if anybody else has this like digital sticker shock thing, but like spending $60 on any digital thing, game or otherwise, that's not like a piece of software that I use to make money. Like I spend $50 a month on Adobe Creative Cloud because that's my income. Like that's a tool. But a piece of entertainment, like $60 for something I cannot resell, is a huge problem for me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever. That is a big barrier. I don't think I would ever do that.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I was going to point to, is like one of the things that surprises me as we move to the sort of digital future or whatever is that like there's no reason that a physical $60 game and a digital game should be the same price. Like
Right?
you don't have to print a box.
Right.
You don't have to print
And
artwork.
that's
You don't have
why-
to print a disc.
That's why the publishers want to move to digital, because it's more profitable. They are not passing that savings on to the consumer. They're just pocketing
Right.
it.
Exactly. So like the advantage of going digital is what? That I don't have to go and like swap a disc out. That's like about it.
The biggest argument I hear is like, if my house burns down, my games aren't all gone. And I'm like, that's
It's like, okay,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
there's
physical
server-
Okay.
games. Physical
Yeah,
games
okay.
can be lost. I mean, there's some differences there. The biggest one with digital is that it's just so much easier to access.
Is
you
it
don't worry
so
about your
much easier
shipment
to
being late
access?
day one.
Oh, you
I mean,
mean
yeah,
like
for
day
most
one?
people.
Okay.
Yeah, like day one, you can download it right away.
Like, I hear people
you
be
don't have
like-
to keep all your games with you,
I-
especially like with the Switch,
Yeah.
with the portable. Like, if you have a whole lot of games, then you need like a whole bag to carry them.
Yeah, I don't carry every Switch game I own with me all the time.
Yeah,
I carry
yeah,
like
I have
I'm
the
just
one on me.
saying that is a plus. Like, if you do take your Switch a lot of places and you don't know what you want to play, and having them all on the Switch without having to swap the card out, without having to make sure you actually have that cart with you.
I don't know, then decision paralysis sets in. Like if I can only play Pokemon or Mario Maker, like I'm going to play one of those instead of being like, oh, my entire library,
I
great.
do think a lot of that draw is the fact that you can play it, midnight launch day.
That's true too. It's just that all,
Waiting for the
but that's all
delivery.
fleeting. Like all of the fleeting advantages to a digital copy just go away when it's like, buy $60. That's not a small amount of money for me.
But I will say, like, for the inverse, like, I have a hard time buying limited run stuff. And I know, like, so far that stuff just inflates in price. I don't think that can hold forever. But, you see a game that's, a pretty cheap digital game that sells for like $15 on the eShop. And if you want the physical copy from limited run, not even the special edition, it'll be like $35.
Yeah.
Because they're basically paying the eShop price and then putting together a product that they can sell you on top of that, which costs them more money, and they have to pay their staff and pay for all the materials and services they use to make that product. So I have a hard time justifying that purchase when it is the other way, when it does reflect the added cost of the physical product.
Yeah.
Something I mentioned when he asked this question is that I think the other two players, not Nintendo, like Sony and Microsoft, could probably go digitally a lot faster. Like, I don't think there's as much push for physical media for those
But what's
two.
interesting
Well,
is that they have.
let me
is
just
that
say-
Nintendo has more to save, because the Switch uses proprietary cards that have very limited space on them, which costs, especially like the 32-bit or the 32 gig Switch cartridges. Those are pretty expensive to make. Whereas,
the disc is
with
not.
the others, they're using
Yeah.
Blu-ray discs.
But the other
Yeah,
thing,
for a lot
the other thing about Nintendo, though, is that their software retains value. None of the other stuff, like nobody else's games retain value like Nintendo's games. If you want to go buy a brand new copy of Breath of the Wild from GameStop, $59.99. It's a 5-year-old game. For better or worse, like if I already owned that game and I bought it 5 years ago, awesome. If I want to resell it, I'm going to make $40 easy. Like no problem. But if I want to sell,
just think
like in 6 months, what is Horizon Forbidden West going to be worth? $5, $10,
$20.
So yeah, that's a push for them to go digital.
If Nintendo on the Switch 2 sticks with a proprietary storage method as they like to do, and then they decide they want to do what the other companies are doing and have games that are, several hundred gigs of data, they're going to go digital because otherwise they're going to have to sell their physical games for like $200.
And that's why I don't think they're ever going to do that.
No, they're not. And
they don't
Nintendo has just found ways to make games that don't take up a lot of space.
They're also really good at compression.
They're compression wizards. But something I mentioned on there was that with Sony and Microsoft, they're already like a 70% digital, 30% physical sales.
Yeah.
Where Nintendo this last year was the very first time that their digital sales had ever overtaken physical.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Nintendo actually led the way with putting like the real AAA games onto the eShop.
Interesting.
I believe they were doing that first with the Wii U. And part of that's just because the Wii U came out a little ahead because the Wii was trailing far behind the 360 PS3.
Yeah.
But they were kind of the first to be like, oh, every game we release is going to be digital now.
You couldn't do that on the... Okay, so
they had digital sales on the like
no,
but that was Xbox Live Arcade.
Well, Xbox 360 and PS3
had digital game stores.
Yeah,
they did. Okay,
yep. Did they have $60 full releases?
I don't know if they had $60.
I don't think they had full releases. Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm questioning that, but I can't think. You might be thinking of because the Wii U was after that generation technically. Like
that was
from a technical standpoint, the Wii U is a current generation system. It's just died.
Another
Nintendo
thing too,
doesn't even report digital sales to the NPD. Nintendo, it's all physical when they report their sales numbers.
Oh,
it's not until we get their actual official like quarterly reports is the only time we get digital included.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
it was like first quarter of 21, I think, that they had finally overtaken physical sales with digital. And I mean, really, when you look at even limited run, what's happened since the Switch has come out, like that's pretty much all they sell. Like every once in a while they get a PS4 physical game come through there, but it's very few and far between compared to what you get from the Switch as far as selection goes.
So I think we're right on the money with the other big two. Microsoft and Sony will probably be the first to go all digital just because of the way they handle their pricing and their games. But the physical side of Nintendo and Nintendo fans in general will keep physical games alive on those systems for a lot longer, I think. So they're in kind of a different park. We are rubbing up against 2 hours here, guys. So why don't we wrap things up a little bit, y'all? Let's let Seth plug his stuff, and then we'll say goodnight. Seth, plug your stuff.
Oh, sure. So I am one of the co-hosts of All In, a Nintendo podcast. It is a weekly Nintendo variety show that I do with my good friend and wonderful co-host Eric, who has been on the show before as well.
Spell that crap.
All In, ALLN. I have had people be like, dude, you need to spell it, because I'm Googling All In or whatever. If you just look up All In Podcast, you'll find us. It's the letter N, like Nintendo. And yeah, it's a weekly Nintendo variety show. We post new episodes every Saturday. We cover news. We have Indie Showcase, where we cover an indie game on the Switch eShop. We do a top 5 every week. And we have kind of a revolving main segment where it can be like an interview or a retrospective, or we just kind of try to be cover all different facets of being a Nintendo fan and give a bunch of variety every week. I also make a show called Keep Nintendo Weird, which is a weird Nintendo podcast about loving weird Nintendo games. And I do that kind of sporadically. I'm doing it a lot more lately, and I probably will continue to hammer that pretty hard as we start tackling some of these 3DS and Wii U eShop games. We have one actually coming out on Wednesday. We film it live now. I actually do it live on twitch.tv/allinpodcast. We record the thing live, and then the following Wednesday I put it up on the feed. So we have got Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime is the upcoming episode with All In community members, Shy Guy City. So it was a great chat. So that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. You're also just one of our best friends over here, retrologic, and we want to thank you for coming on, talking with us about this stuff,
so much,
and just being a great human. So, thanks for listening to the retrologic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, check me out on Twitter and Instagram at retrologic.games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in my Twitter bio. You can find all the retrologic stuff, the podcast, the merch store, the Discord link, our music history podcast, sister podcast, Retro Groove, who's a bi-weekly music history podcast. They're amazing. Those guys over there doing lots of great
going
work.
on there soon.
Yes,
that'll be cool.
They talk to me about what they want to do with you, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm not going to reveal that here, but all I got to say is y'all got to go check out Retro Groove. All of that is available at our website, retrologic.games. Go there and check it out. That's also where the blog is, where Sam slaves over the typing and the research to bring us content every month. Go do some stuff over there and go follow All In and have a great evening or day or morning. Whatever time you're in right now, just have a great one of those. We will see y'all next week.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye.
Check it out. Now that you're feeling real tipsy, let me take you on a trip and roll with me. We the brothers get their party on every day, because we got to do that anyway. Hey, it's time to get on down to the funky rhythm and the sound, cause I gotta hit you up, big baby, and stop that woo like gravy. Yeah, put that stuff in your trunk every day and let them big busters know that we don't play. Hey, it's the funk coming through, hitting you every single day of the week. Yo, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Anybody have to go potty?
Nope.
No, bladders of steel over here tonight. Where the hell am I going to put the Buck Bumble theme song?
Just put it right now.
No, because I got to do Jet Grind Radio music here.
Oh, well, then do it earlier in the show and give away the...
What you do, you play a little Buck Bumble, and then you put a record scratch, and then you go into, like, Concept of Love.
You know what? That's probably exactly what I'm going to do now. That's a great idea. That's what's up. I'm going to do that now.